Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let's take a look at different ways to transfer files between your Mac and your iPhone or iPad. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So there are many ways to transfer files between Macs and iPhones and iPads. Some of those options work just for photos, but most of them work for any kind of file. Let's start off with AirDrop. So AirDrop is a quick way to transfer a file between devices, and they both don't even have to be your devices. One could be, say, your iPhone, and another could be somebody else's iPhone or iMac or iPad. AirDrop works between devices regardless of whether or not you own them both. How AirDrop works really depends on if you own both devices. In other words, if they're using the same Apple ID. There are of course more steps involved if it's somebody else's device you're transferring to or from. So here on my Mac I'm going to first in the Finder go to AirDrop. You may also find it listed here under Favorites. Now this brings up AirDrop and shows you nearby AirDrop devices. So you might see a whole bunch here. Then at the bottom pay careful attention to Allow me to be discovered by, and then you've got No one, which basically turns it off. Contacts only, so the person that you're communicating with has to be in your contacts. That's their Apple ID in your contacts. Or everyone, so anybody, and it doesn't really matter. You could switch between these really easily. So if you need to do a transfer really quick you can switch to everyone, do the transfer, and then easily switch back to no one afterwards. Now if the idea is to transfer something from your iPhone to your Mac, you can do that in a variety of different apps. For instance, in any app like Photos, you can select a photo like this one, share it, and then you can see one of the options here is AirDrop, and here you could see the device appears there. Tap this and then you'll see it transfer. Notice how it didn't even ask for permission there because it knew that both of the devices had the same Apple ID. It was me sending a file to myself. So I didn't need to give myself permission. But if this was somebody else's Mac it would have asked them to accept. Now the equivalent to the Finder on the iPhone is the Files app. Here you can see on my iPhone, which is Local Files, and you can go in there and usually you'll find folders for different apps. So what you're going to see here varies. But you can also create your own folders and store your own things in here. A lot of apps allow you to save things anywhere you want. So for instance if I go into Numbers here I do have a Numbers file. I can tap and hold that file and you can see one of the options here is to share. And I can share using AirDrop and select here. And you can see the file transfer over. Now if I wanted to go from my Mac to the iPhone all I need to do is drag and drop something to the iPhone here in the Finder. So I'm going to drag from this other window right into here. And you can see it transfers and I get this little prompt here asking what I want to do with it. Since it's an RTF file it's going to offer me to open up in Pages and other apps that accept RTF files, or I can just say I want it to go to the Files app. And you can see it's going to ask me where to save it so I can determine where to do that. For instance I could go into this Docs folder that I've created, save it there, and it'll show me the file. Let's go back into Browse here and up to my iPhone in Docs and you can see that file is now there. Now perhaps the easiest way to transfer files between your devices is just to use iCloud. Then you see the same files across those devices. So for instance here on my Mac I'm in my Projects folder. If I command click here I can see Projects and Documents, which is an iCloud drive. So that being the case, if I go over to my iPhone and I look in iCloud Drive in the Files app, I could see that same Documents folder. I could go down to Projects and I'll see the same files right here. If I wanted to transfer a file to my Mac I can just put it in any folder that's an iCloud Drive and find it in that same location on my Mac and vice versa. Now another way to transfer files is to simply use a cable. If you connect your Mac with a cable then you should see it here in the Finder sidebar. Under Locations there's my phone. It will appear here and I have all these tabs here at the top. One of them is Files. If I go to Files I'll see Files stored here. If I look at Numbers for instance I'll see that exact same file that's in here in the Files app under all my iPhone. You can see Docs and Numbers. And there it is. So this will show files stored by apps. You can actually see more apps here than I will see in the Files app. Some apps actually have their own kind of private storage space. For instance, I like to use ProMovie here to record videos. if I go back up here to this level, I don't see that app listed here, but it does have its own private storage space. And if I expand this, I could see the files that it has stored there. So I can record a video using this app. You can do the same with a lot of photo apps as well. And then access the files it stores right here in the Finder under the Files tab for this device. And to transfer something, you can just drag and drop it like that. You could also transfer something in using that. Of course, whether the app knows how to deal with the file you just gave it is another matter. Note that you can also go here to General and then select Show this iPhone when on Wi-Fi. And if you do that, then from this point on you should be able to do the same thing just over Wi-Fi and not have to connect your phone with a cable. Now with your phone connected either with Wi-Fi or the cable, you should be able to go to Photos, and then from there you should be able to select your device here on the left and then import any photos. This is the same camera import option that's been around since the very beginning of the Photos or iPhoto app and iPhones or even cameras before that. But if you want to skip the Photos app and take something directly from your iPhone and store it as a file, you can run the Image Capture app, which is on your Mac. Select your phone there, and then you should see photos and videos that you've taken with your iPhone and be able to drag and drop them from your iPhone right to your Mac. Of course, if you're using iCloud Photos, then the Photos app on your Mac and the Photos app on your iPhone or iPad should be in sync all the time. Any new photos you take with your iPhone should appear across all your devices. Any photos you import from another camera, say on your Mac, should then appear on your iPhone. And there's no need to ever connect your iPhone with a cable or Wi-Fi, use Image Capture or the Photos app to ever import photos. It should all happen automatically, even when you're not in the same location with all your devices. It just happens through iCloud. Now you can also just use plain old-fashioned network file sharing. So here I am in System Preferences on a Mac, and you can go into Sharing, and then here you can turn on File Sharing. You can see how I have that turned on. Now on my iPhone, if I go into the Files app and then I go up here, Connect to Server, I can enter in here the information that I see right here and then connect. And I can select Guest or Registered User. Since this is my account, I know the name and password. And then Next. Then it'll connect, and there are all my files. There's my Home folder. There's the Documents folder. I can get to all of that, and I can transfer files to and from here right on my device. So I can go, for instance, into the Projects folder here. I can click and hold there, and I can copy, or I can move. And if I move, then I get to select where it is it goes to. You can also do drag and drop. You can actually use two fingers. You can take one and tap and hold and then start dragging, and then use the other one to navigate all while dragging, and then go back up, go to on my iPhone. Let's go into here and I'll drop it, and I've just taken the file from my Mac, put it on my iPhone. Likewise, you could do the same thing here and drag and then put it on your Mac. I'll just stick it right here in, say, this folder. And now on my Mac, if I look here under MACMOST, there's that test.rtf. Now another thing you could do is you could attach an external drive to your iPhone and transfer files there. We used to call that SneakerNet, where you transfer to a drive and then take it to the other machine and attach the drive there. So you can do a variety of different things with this. On an iPhone, of course, you have a Lightning connector, so you're going to want an adapter that either goes to USB, and then you can use a USB drive like a flash drive or a larger external drive. Or I just have an SD card reader here that goes to Lightning, and I put an SD card in. And then I could transfer files to this SD card. It appears here in the Files app. So I can go into the card. You can see this one's used for a camera here. But I can transfer files just the same way I showed doing it before, by drag or drop or copy and paste. Or if I've got this connected and I'm doing something with an app, I can actually choose to save it here if the app lets me save it anywhere in the Files app hierarchy. And then of course I can take this card and put it in my Mac or an SD card reader and attach it to my Mac and then transfer the file from there. The same thing if I'm using a flash drive or even a larger drive. And a great thing is, of course, all the newest iPads use USB-C, which means that a lot of the flash drives and hard drives now are USB-C, and you can plug one of those right into the iPad and transfer files to or from the iPad and to or from your Mac using an external drive or SD card or something as a go-between. Now I showed you, of course, how you can use iCloud Drive to do this so easily. But iCloud Drive isn't the only cloud service out there. A variety of other services like Dropbox and Google Drive and such, if you install them on your iPhone, then they will appear in the Files app. So you have two ways to access your files there. Usually through the app itself, like the Dropbox app, and in the Files app. So you can move files from different locations in your Files app into, say, Dropbox, Google Drive, or whatever, and then see them on your Mac if you're using the same cloud service there. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.